Hello and welcome to the video. My name is Thomas, I study and teach psychology and other new subjects, and today I'm going to be talking about the recent Counter-Strike drama that has been brewing the last 2 days. A large crash was seen in the market, and you can see the market cap here. That if I just look at it here, you can see that there was a large crash here in the end of 2025. And a large reason for this crash is that the way which you got the very rare skins in Counter-Strike has been changed, which means that it is now more available to the average player. This, however, is a very bad thing for some people, as they were heavily invested into some of these skins. So some of these skins can go up to several $1,000s in value. And if you had some of the most rare skins and now everyone can get them with a higher likeliness, then of course they will also lose some of their value. So if we look at how the system worked before for rarities, we can see that the most rare thing that there is in a basic case is the exceedingly rare quality. And early in the game, you could always go one level up if you had 10 of the before mentioned quality. So 10 whites went to a light blue, 10 light blues went to a blue, and so on until you got to the red skins. Now from the red ones, there wasn't actually any way to upgrade further. So this wasn't possible before, a few days ago. Now this new update, it really does make a large effect that you can now get into the exceedingly rare quality. So it is possible now with 5 rare skins, or ancient skins as these are called. So by doing this, it is now possible to get the knives and gloves that are in the game without rolling them in a case. You can actually save up from the different types of skins. Now if we just do some quick maths, you would know that it requires a ton of skins. So for example, it's already 10 to get to a blue, 100 to get to 100 to get to a blue, 1,000 to purple, 10,000 to pink, 100,000 to ancient, then 500,000 now to get to the yellow ones. So it's in no way that they have become common now, but there's now a new possibility to get them, and that has really affected the market, as we can see in this graph here. Now a lot of value has been deleted, and that has been bad for a lot of people, but I will not be explaining the details of this. Instead, I would recommend that you either go and watch TaraPsych or Onipixel or someone like that knows a lot more about the subject area. However, there was something that TaraPsych was talking about in his stream that was quite interesting. So I will just find the clip here.
If you're gonna buy CS skins, at the end of the day, it feels like you should just buy the ones you like that look cool and not try to turn it into a way to make money. I mean, this whole year, we've been seeing more people trying to turn collectible hobbies into cash generators. Whether it's Pokemon, whether it's Magic cards, whether it's McDonald's toys that come. I saw a thing about people in Japan were buying thousands of McDonald's meals to get the little Pokemon toy and then throwing the meals away so they could sell it on. It's gotten insane. And I think this Counter-Strike example is just another example of that, but finally with a little bit of flip on the investors.
Yeah. And exactly this point, he doesn't go that much more into it, but this fact that there has been more and more hobbies that has been areas for speculation, something which I also talk about in one of my other videos. But people are speculating in the values of these skins, and that's why they have been rising in value. But it isn't only Counter-Strike skins that this has happened to, and this is a great example of when you speculate in assets that are owned by a company that can just print more of it, then you aren't really certain of the value, and you should be really careful doing this. And I actually looked into what people are generally playing Counter-Strike. And it is usually quite young people. So when we look at this, we can see that the largest population is 21 to 25 years old. Critical Raspberry on Reddit did a small survey where people could answer, and of course this might not be completely accurate, but I think it's a good point to look at this and see that it is primarily young adults that are playing this, and I would imagine that it's also young adults who has these skins. And these people has lost between hundreds and thousands of dollars in value, and some of these people has actually used the skins as an investment vehicle. And for these people, this will affect their ability to buy stuff that they want, maybe a car, maybe a home, maybe something else, because they now cannot realize these assets as at the same value that it might have been worth. And when we compare this to, for example, gold, then gold, we know where gold is. It has inherent value, and everyone knows that it has the value that it does, and we of course still speculate in the value of gold, but we cannot just magically make more gold appear. But when we look at many of the other areas where you can speculate in the value, for example, Counter-Strike skins, for example, Legos or Pokemon cards or Magic cards, as Atriok was talking about, this is quite a risk because we can end up with Lego, for example, printing a set that you once thought would never be made again, or you can have Pokemon re-releasing old packages, and that can reduce the value of what you have maybe put thousands of dollars into drastically. So because this isn't just a closed system, it isn't just a market, this is actually a market just controlled by one company. And if they see a reason for changing something about the skins, for example in Counter-Strike, maybe that's even for the better of the game. I am not certain. Again, go watch CoffeeZilla or Atriok or someone else. I'm sure that they can explain exactly why this change was made in Counter-Strike. But Lego, for example, could easily re-release the Eiffel Tower set or something like that because there's a high demand for it. And if you have that sitting in its box and is hoping that it will rise in value as a part of your investment strategy, then that's risky. And yeah, so that's really just a point that I don't think that Atriok brought up a lot. But I think it's important to know this and to be aware of it. Other than this, I thought that it was funny that there's a clip here of Onipixel. And I'll just play it and then we can talk about it.
% market crash in CS. Next thing is the stock market, no? Call me absolutely nuts. Because right now, I didn't even know this. What's happening is all these companies, billions invested from Nvidia to fucking OpenAI invests into AMD invests into, it's like a trifecta. It's just they're passing money around and the investors see, whoa, they invested this much into the company,
Yeah.
I gotta buy.
So you can see that he's really riled up about the stock market, about stuff being a bubble, and I think this is actually a good indicator that we are definitely in a bubble. So there is this saying that if your taxi driver starts to talk about that you should be buying stocks, then you are probably in a bubble. But I think that if your Counter-Strike content creators start talking about you being in a stock market bubble, then you are very likely in a stock market bubble, because I don't think that that these news really reach these content creators that easily. So if your beauty influencers or Counter-Strike content creators or whatever starts to talk about the world being in a stock market bubble, then it's probably time to be a bit careful about your investment strategies. And maybe Legos and Charizards, Counter-Strike skins, and so on, they might be on the riskier end. And of course, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, so it would be stupid for me to do so, but really just think about the risk tolerance that you have as a person, and it maybe, even though these things have risen in value drastically, especially for example Lego, I know that as far as I remember, Lego has beaten the Nasdaq for the last 20 years, if I remember correctly. So it would have been an insane investment, but you're also running the risk of Lego just reprinting a set that you have bought, and then you are screwed. So yeah, again, this is just a call to caution, call to action. Be careful, take care of yourself, and of course, have a great day. See you around.